All right, everybody. Welcome to the Vibrant Health Show, the show where I give you high-level education on women's health topics, as well as actionable items that you can start doing right away. I'm so glad everyone is here. If you are watching live or you're watching the replay or the live stream, comment, interact. If you're watching this after the fact, I'll come back and get to your comments as well. So thank you guys so much for being here. Today, we're going to start with some foundational things I believe that everyone needs to know about health and wellness. And we're going to talk all about how to find your root cause. So I know you probably heard me say those words before, like it's important to find your answers and your root cause. And it became very aware to me that not everyone knows what that means, right? What's a root cause? How do I find it? What am I missing? So we're going to start today and talk all about that. And as we go, we're going to get into lots of detailed topics on these shows. We're going to talk about everything from menopause to mold to fasting. We're going to cover lots of really important topics. But today is all about how do you find your root cause? What are you missing? What is the doctor not running for you that's keeping you sick? Because one thing I believe fully is that if you have health issues, if you have symptoms, if you're fatigued, if you can't lose weight, if your hair is falling out, if you get headaches, if any of those things are happening, there is a reason. Your body never does anything by accident. It doesn't do it just because. It's doing it in response to something. And if you are still struggling, it's because you have not found what the 1, 2, 3, for some of you 5 different reasons are that your body is not healing the way that it's supposed to. So that's what I'm going to teach you guys today. Let me start back with a little bit of my story, just so you guys understand I've been there, right? Like this is not just things I'm sharing with you because of my education. This is true life experiences. And I had to go through everything I'm going to teach you guys to find my own answers, which is why now I'm so passionate about sharing it with others, because without that, I would still be suffering. And I believe no one needs to suffer, right? You just have to find your answers. So if you don't know my story, I was actually diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 8 years old. So I would say looking back, I have been unwell most of my life. Fibromyalgia turned into migraine headaches. I had psoriasis head to toe that would bleed. It was so embarrassing. The kids would make fun of me when I was younger. I had IBS. I had sleep issues. And at the time, my family was very medical. So we did all the medical stuff, right? I was on all the medications. I did the prescription medications. I did the traditional treatments. And not only was I not getting better, I was getting worse, right? And I remember at like 15 or 16 thinking, this can't be right. Like nothing about this feels right. There's got to be a different answer. And that's when I became really interested in holistic healthcare, finding non-medical answers to chronic issues. And I started researching nutrition. I started researching holistic approaches. I started seeing a chiropractor. I fell in love with natural medicine. So I ended up going to get my doctorate in chiropractic. I was looking and researching everything I could find to find non-medical answers because I felt like that system had failed me to the issues I was having. So fast forward, get my doctorate, going to school, still feeling better, but I was chalking everything up to I'm tired, I'm stressed, all of these things. So my husband and I graduate and we start our business. And then a few years later, I get pregnant with our first baby. And it was a couple weeks after I had my first child that my health hit rock bottom. And remember, at this point, I was already a doctor. I ate healthier than most people I knew. I exercised regularly. I was taking great supplements. I was doing everything I thought was right? Everything people tell you to do to be healthy, I was doing, yet my health completely tanked. I was getting migraine headaches almost daily. My fatigue was so bad, I could sleep for 8-10 hours and wake up still feeling so exhausted that I couldn't get through the day. I was getting joint pain. My hands were so swollen. My joints would hurt so bad that for the first several hours of every day, I couldn't even pick up or hold my newborn baby because my hands hurt that bad. And I had no idea why. Now, I had access to great physicians. A lot of my colleagues were wonderful doctors. And I went looking for answers. And I couldn't find anybody. Nobody. Your labs are normal. Your blood work looks fine. It's not a tumor. It's not an autoimmune disease. Everything kept coming back normal. And I was so freaking frustrated because nothing about how I felt was normal. but everyone kept saying I was fine. Oh, you're stressed. Oh, you're a new mom. Oh, nap when the baby naps. Like if one more person tells me that, my head's going to explode. And it went on for a couple of years. I struggled badly with my health for several years until I realized if I was going to find answers, it was going to have to be me to do it. So that's when I got really interested in integrative healthcare, started studying at the Institute of Functional Medicine, started learning all of these things to figure out how to find my own answers. And what I uncovered through the things I'm going to teach you today were the exact root causes of what was creating the imbalances, what was creating my pain, what was creating my headaches, what was creating my eczema. And I don't have any of that stuff anymore because I found my root causes, the things that were triggering and causing my specific health issues. Now, I want to encourage you, if you're having issues, I guarantee there's a root cause. However, it's going to be different for everybody. You might also have fatigue, joint pain, and headaches, but your root causes are going to be completely different than what mine are. And that's why I teach, the very first thing I'm teaching you is about proper testing, because that is how you find your root cause. Not only that, but ongoing testing. There has definitely been times since I've been better that I felt like my body was a little bit off. So you know what I did? Went back and tested again. And guess what I found? Something new, something different, something I needed to address. So this testing piece of your puzzle is true preventative healthcare. This is how we find imbalances before they become disease. And that is one thing I'm so passionate about. Our medical system has its place. I'm not against it, but they are disease management and number manipulation. Truly, that's what they do. If you have a disease or you have an ailment or you have an injury, they can fix it. But if you're anywhere in that gray area where you're sick, but you haven't been diagnosed with a condition yet, those people, me, the people I work with, those are the people that get forgotten about, right? There's no treatment for you. There's no diagnosis. There's no pill. I want to encourage you that that's the perfect time to start taking more holistic approaches so you can balance the issue before it becomes the disease. That is the thing I love teaching women how to do. And what I'll share with you guys today is the 3 things. And I actually have a surprise 4th one that I've added recently. So technically it's 4, but the 3 things that your doctor's not testing that's keeping you sick. The main areas people will find their root causes, and you're probably not having these tested if you're just going for your routine visits at your doctor. So follow along with me. If you've had any of these tests done, feel free to tell me in the comments. If you have questions about it, let me know. Ask in the comments, ask in the comment section, and I'll come back and answer all of those as well. But let's start with number 1, probably my favorite test on the planet. If you are a woman, and I work mostly with women, that's where my passion is, you need to know your hormone and your adrenal pattern, right? We are hormonal beings at any phase of life, whether you are still cycling, whether you are in perimenopause, whether you are postmenopausal, whether you've had a hysterectomy, partial or complete, it doesn't matter. Women need to know what our hormone and our adrenal patterns look like. It's one of the tools we can use to get the best out of our health, to feel and look the best, to avoid inflammatory issues. Knowing your hormone and adrenal pattern is amazing, but it's so rarely tested for. Typically, if you go to your doctor and you ask for hormone testing, one of 2 things will happen. Either they'll kind of say, yeah, I guess we can do that. I don't know why you want to see them, but we'll test it. And they do a 1-point blood draw. They don't ask you where you're at in your cycle. They don't map out your adrenal glands, and they draw just a couple of surface level hormones where they don't look at the proper reference ranges, and they tell you, oh yeah, I pulled your hormones, but they look great, right? And that's it. That's all you get from that conversation. Or more often, I'm hearing people say their doctor refuses to test their hormones because they say it's inaccurate, there isn't anything we can do about it. So they're not even testing hormones, but they will prescribe you hormone replacement or bioidenticals without testing, which is one of the things that I definitely do not want you to do. Testing first, and then you do any type of treatment after that. But what is so important with hormone testing is that it has to be done where you can get the most information. You want your hormone testing to be done through urine or saliva, not blood, right? Blood is the least accurate of those ways to test it. So urine or saliva. My favorite one personally is called the Dutch test, right? So that is a dried urine sample that's mapped over 24 hours in urine. That's my favorite way to do it. And you get so many pieces of the information. So you get to see your hormone patterns. You get to see your adrenal patterns. You get to see neurotransmitters if you're having mood issues. We get to see inflammatory markers. We get to see all of the pieces that really encompass what's going on in a woman's body in one test. And I promise this is not the same stuff you're getting from your general blood work at your doctor. It is the deep dive into what's going on internally with a woman's body. So hormone and adrenal mapping is number one. If you are a woman, especially if you have a thyroid problem, this is incredibly important. If you have a thyroid problem or you're on thyroid medication, you absolutely need to have your hormones and your adrenals checked, because your hormones, your thyroid, and your adrenals make up the women's health trifecta. They all communicate together. They work together. They should be looked at together for the absolute best results. So piece number one that you've probably not had tested that could be keeping you sick is a hormone and adrenal panel. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had that tested. Number two is a comprehensive stool sample. You can get so much information from your poop that it's invaluable, right? It's everyone's least favorite test because you have to collect your stool, but it is absolutely the one that gleans us the most information about your immune system, about your microbiome, about your body's ability to digest and absorb foods. There's so much information and so many jobs that your gut is responsible for, and we can see that on a comprehensive stool sample. We also know from thousands of women that I've worked with that most people's primary root cause, the thing that triggered all the things, is almost always immune system related. And what I mean by that is some type of chronic infection or overgrowth. So if you have a bacterial infection or a yeast infection or parasite or an imbalance in the microbiome in your gut, those are things that trigger immune response. They can trigger autoimmune issues. They can trigger your hormone imbalance. So looking at any immune system triggers is typically where you will find your largest and most important root cause. And starting with that immune system piece is also really, really important, because let's say you have a hormone imbalance, but you also have a gut infection. Do you think trying to balance your hormones is going to work the way we want it to if we're still dealing with this infection you don't know about? You're not going to get the same results you're looking for if you don't first knock out what's really causing the stress in your body and then be able to really work on those hormones. So I'm also a very big advocate for doing the right thing in the right order. I have people all the time who come to me, they're like, oh, I did some stuff for hormones, but it didn't work. Okay, did you check your gut? Did you check for infections? Did you check for inflammation? Well, no, I just did hormones. Well, no wonder you didn't feel better, right? It's never just hormones. There are stressors and other causes of hormone imbalance. And in my experience, majority of the time, it is coming from an issue with the immune system, like bacterial infections, yeast infections. If you do have parasites, then I'll tell you the last one at the end that we're finding as a very common root cause for a lot of people. But I believe every person, male and female, children included, should be getting a stool sample on a regular basis, because so much of our function and our health and our immune system happen in the gut. I test my kids every 2 years. They get their stool sample. We see what their gut looks like. My whole family does it. But a stool sample is such a beautiful snapshot of your immune system and your health. I recommend everybody gets tested for that. And it's actually insane to me that it's not part of our general traditional healthcare system. Like, why aren't they doing that at well checks for kids? Why aren't they doing that at irregular visits? Your gut is so important. Testing it and seeing what's going on is the most valuable test that you can do for your general health. So if you haven't had a stool sample, put that on the list. If you have had one, go ahead and tell me in the comments. And then the third one is food allergies. Now, tell me if you've ever had this experience. You've tried a diet plan before. Maybe it's even a really strict one. You do it with your friend. She drops like 25 pounds and you gain 3. And you're like, what the heck? We did the same thing at the same time. I don't know why it's not working for me. Because all food plans don't work for every person. What if, let's say you decide to do this plan and it's eggs for breakfast and it's, chicken salad for lunch, and then you're having something else for dinner. Well, what if you find out you're allergic to eggs? What if you're allergic to lettuce, like my husband was, and you're trying to make all of these healthy changes, but they're not working because every time you have, let's say, eggs or lettuce or almonds, it's creating inflammation in the body, which is making imbalances, right? So I prefer, making food changes are hard, right? It is probably the piece that's the hardest for the women that I work with. There's an emotional tie to food. There's a lot of planning that goes around it. So if you're going to make the changes, I highly recommend having a list that's true to your body. So you're only avoiding the foods you really have to, and not eliminating a bunch of stuff that maybe you don't need to eliminate. I'm all about making life easier, right? Making health changes easier. For example, when I first checked my food allergy list, I had 29 different food allergies that I had no idea. They included things like coffee. I was drinking coffee every day. Chocolate. Most women are consuming quite a bit of chocolate. Lemons, limes, and ginger. I had been having tons of headaches and joint pain. So thinking it was a healthy option, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start juicing in the morning. So I'm going to get lots of nutrition first thing in the morning. I was juicing lemons, limes, and ginger every single day, wondering why I wasn't feeling better, right? Wondering why my joints still hurt, wondering why I was still getting headaches, because I wasn't doing the right things for my body. Now, those aren't even unhealthy foods, right? Those are great foods. They just weren't great for me. So I highly recommend, before you eliminate a bunch of stuff and make your life very difficult, test your food allergies. Let your body tell you what to avoid. That way we can have a really simple and clean list to help you individualize your nutrition plan instead of just doing a basic one and making it really complicated. So I believe everybody needs food allergy testing. And that's another one I do on an ongoing basis. These are all labs I do every couple of years because I want to know what's going on with my body day in and day out. I want to correct it when I see small deviations, so I never end up where I have to manage a disease, right? Or just trying to manipulate a number. This is how we do true wellness prevention. Test your body. Know what you need, not what someone says you need, not what a guru says you need, but really what your body is telling you is going on, and work only on that, because that's how you're going to get your answers. Find your root cause answers, but then also make sure you're doing them in the right order. You're going to start hearing me talk about this a lot. There is a hierarchy. There is an order that you have to go in order to get the results that you want. If you have an immune system or an inflammatory issue, that always comes first. That is your true root cause. We always start there. Once you've cleaned that up, then you can do more of the hormone, the adrenals, the endocrine system. That would be layer 2 after you've dealt with the inflammation and the immune system. Then we work more on hormones and adrenals. Then once your body's doing a whole lot better, now you're able to go into something like a detox. We never start with detox. If you're going somewhere, listening to somebody and they're promoting doing a gut detox or a parasite cleanse, and you've never done any testing, absolutely not. Most people's bodies physically are not even ready to detox yet. You've got to get rid of the inflammation and infections, balance the hormones and adrenals, and now your body is prepared and ready to go do a detox. So doing it in the right order makes a tremendous difference. So especially if you're someone who feels like, I've tried that, I've done some things here, it didn't really work. Were you doing the right thing at the right time, and only what's right for your body, not somebody else? Those 3 pieces are what's going to get you the results that you've wanted for years or decades. Some of you, right? I have women who come to me, we've been struggling for 20, 30 years because you didn't do the right thing at the right time that was right for your body. So step 1 for that is always proper testing. If you're looking, where do I invest? Where do I start? What should I do first? Get proper testing. That is the difference maker. That is what's going to change it all for you. We test those 3 things. And then my number 4 that I've recently added, because it keeps coming up and I keep seeing all the things that I want people testing for. So 1 is Epstein-Barr. I'm going to do an entire class on this next time, but just like bacterial infections, yeast infections, overgrowth, Epstein-Barr is one of the most common root causes that I've been finding, the triggers and the root causes that create chronic fatigue, hormone imbalance. It's the #1 cause of thyroid, Hashimoto's in the thyroid, and autoimmune disease. So we've been testing Epstein-Barr on a lot of people, and then a full and complete thyroid panel that includes not only your TSH, but all of your thyroid hormones and your thyroid antibodies to give you a full and complete picture. So Epstein-Barr and a full thyroid panel is my bonus 4th test that I believe most women need to really find their full and complete picture. So to give you a recap, the 4 things that probably haven't been tested that could very well give you your root cause answers, which are the reasons, the triggers why you have your health issues: hormone and adrenal mapping test, stool sample, food allergies, and then lastly, we've added the thyroid and Epstein-Barr test to see and uncover all the possible triggers and root causes that you can have. So if you have not had those tests, I think that's a beautiful place for anyone to start on their holistic journey. If you have questions about that, feel free to reach out and let me know. Join us every week. I'm going to start hitting lots of specific health topics. We'll have challenges together. I'll give you actionable items that you can take with you and start developing and creating a healthy life ongoing. We're going to do that every single week. So today, I hope you're walking away thinking, yeah, I have some pieces I'm missing that could be the answers I've been looking for to finally get my breakthrough and create vibrant and lasting health. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you again next week.